Congressman Raskin, even before Todd Blanche's tweet today, you were trying to get Todd Blanche to actually deliver testimony to your committee. It seems that tweet, with him willing to identify for you what isn't in the Epstein files, is at least the beginning of possibly valuable testimony.
Well, that's right. All these emails, of course, completely debunk and discredit what Ghislaine Maxwell told Todd Blanche when he went over and engaged in that sweetheart interview with her. Now his defense to this, we didn't have all of the emails from the Epstein estate. First of all, I find that almost impossible to believe. If you look at the index of what was seized by the FBI, and includes 40 computers from Jeffrey Epstein, 26 storage drives, for a total of I think it's more than 300 gigabytes of material. So the idea that his emails weren't in there is ridiculous. And of course, they probably didn't look. If they were in there, they never looked for them, because the very first thing they did when they took over the Department of Justice was they summoned all of the prosecutors' materials that had been assembled over the years, and they declared the case over. They shut it down before they looked at anything. But let's assume that he knew what he was talking about and he was telling the truth, that they were not in there. Obviously, the thing to do now is to say, okay, we're going to have a second round of interviews with the witness here, with Ghislaine Maxwell, now that we have all of these emails that completely debunk and undermine what it was she was saying. But they're not going to make any movement in that direction, of course, because they just want the whole thing to go away. And all of it invites the question, in what capacity has he been acting? Is it as Donald Trump's personal criminal defense lawyer, or is it as the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, who's interested in protecting victims and future victims from a billion-dollar child sex predator ring that operates or operated or has operated all over the world? And so, maybe he was operating as Donald Trump's emissary to determine, one, that she would say nothing untoward about Donald Trump, and two, to see whether she was going to be cooperative enough to actually merit a pardon from Donald Trump. So he's acting kind of like a pardon attorney. Well, he obviously will do anything that Donald Trump tells him to do. I think what it is that Congress needs to do at this point is to say that we completely oppose a pardon for this convicted child sex offender who continues to lie about both Jeffrey Epstein and also about Donald Trump, if these emails are to be credited.
J.D. Vance went on Fox tonight, didn't say a word about this, wasn't asked a question about it. Obviously, that's why you go on Fox, so there won't be any questions about this. But as we go forward here, what we've seen so far with J.D. Vance is he, on this issue as of now, he used to try to defend Donald Trump on this stuff. This week, totally silent about this. He's taken the Gerald Ford posture at this point.
Well, yeah, as Donald Trump's pet chameleon, he will try to change his spots according to whatever the politics of the moment demand. And it'll be interesting to see those who will, stand with Trump till the end and those who will try to jump off in the nick of time. But look, this is like a deadly serious issue for the survivors.
Well, some of the most outspoken voices on the right are also giving us a better sense of the split in real time. Here's some comments.
The deal for Republicans on this vote is that Trump will protect you if you vote the wrong way. In other words, if you vote to cover up for pedophiles, you've got cover in a Republican primary.
Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. You can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. Yeah.
Joining me now in the group chat, Noel King, co-host and editorial director of the Today Explained podcast, Bradley Devlin, politics editor at the Daily Signal, and Ashley Etienne, former communications director for Vice President Kamala Harris. Good to have all of you with us. I just want to start with those Megyn Kelly comments. She did add all of this is disgusting. I have to be honest, I'm not sure what adding that changes. The thought of it and the thought of this person who she's discussing somehow seeming to make the case that it's okay if a girl is 15 versus 8. Bradley, why even raise that point?
I don't know, but there is a comedian who has this exact bit where he goes through the different medical distinctions that the experts have determined and says, but if you mention any of this, you sound like a creep and you sound like a weirdo and you probably shouldn't be talking about it. I understand what Megyn was trying to do there. I just don't think that...
Wait, I'm going to stop you there because I don't.
What was she?
No, I'm going to stop you there. But what was she, in all seriousness, right? This is not a comedy sketch. This is not... What was she trying to do? What is the point that you believe she was trying to make in that moment?
I think she was trying to say that these types of interactions, like the network that Jeffrey Epstein had created, was not the type of child sex trafficking that we talk about when we talk about young children overseas, et cetera, et cetera. Now, again, distinction without difference, as she pointed out.
Noel, when you look at that this is now a line of discussion, what does that tell you about where we have landed?
Well, I have a 15-year-old niece, and what I would say is I don't think Megyn Kelly needs to articulate every single thing that crosses her mind. It was an appalling thing to say. I think what's really interesting about the revelations this week is that they didn't really tell us anything that new, Erica. It was a lot of what we knew. Trump and Epstein were friends for a long time. They had a split. After that, they were not friends, and they didn't talk. What's really interesting is, again, even though people are seeing there doesn't appear to be much new here, the pressure still is, okay, but we want all of it because we want to make absolutely sure that things are not being hidden from the American public. I guess the long and short of it is this is just not going away.
It's not going away. I mean, it's also, let's be transparent here. This is an issue that the president himself created by initially promising to release these documents. And it's an excellent point. The president has not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing. These emails don't really change a whole lot in that respect when we're talking about the president. What I think is really interesting, though, is that we are starting to hear more about Republicans and where they will land. I just want to listen a little bit more to some of what we heard from Thomas Massie.
If this comes on the floor, I will vote for it. I want transparency.
This is Epstein votes coming to the floor. Are you going to vote for it, this bill?
Yeah, told you I would. Yeah. I'm going to vote for it if it comes up because...
You'll vote for the bill?
Yeah.
We do need to know. We do need to know everything about Epstein.
We need to know. That's on the heels of Massie predicting there would be a snowball effect. Ashley, on the broader point here, right, this makes it to the floor. Let's say more Republicans vote for it. We move forward. What happens then? What do Democrats do with this?
Well, I mean, here's the issue is if there's nothing there, then why all the shenanigans? Why is Donald Trump, President Trump, asserting a pressure campaign on Republicans to switch their vote or to vote against the bill when it comes to the floor? Why delay it for 6 weeks if there is nothing there? They should just rip the Band-Aid off and release the documents. But we don't know. We don't know. And so that's really the challenge. What are they hiding? That's the question that Democrats have to keep pushing. But, I would caution sort of everyone's exuberance about this particular issue because it's got to go through the process. It's got to go to the floor, be voted out of the House, then to the Senate, and then to the president's desk. Donald Trump is never going to give himself up. So I can't imagine that he actually signs this. But my advice to the Democratic Party is in the House Democrats is that this needs to not be an isolated event.
We've talked about this. Trump thinks he's pulling a fast one on Democrats, but he's not. He's like, oh, I'm going to investigate you. Democrats have been pretty consistent here that they don't care about Bill Clinton. They don't. Any investigation you have will hurt you and your buddies, Donald. The people that were on this thing were either fellow conservatives or they are people that have become increasingly conservative as you've risen and also are just billionaire class people. And the billionaire class people, Biden wasn't surrounded by billionaires when he got sworn in. You were. The kind of people that will be implicated alongside you are either going to be Democrats that are too old to matter, like too in the past to matter, or they're going to be people that are part either your buddies directly or people that are helped by your policies. The billionaire class. It doesn't matter what particular billionaire. It doesn't even matter if that billionaire happened to vote Democrat. I don't care, because the billionaire class exerts undue influence, and the billionaire class is able to fly on planes and take children wherever they want for whatever reason they want, right? And you, more than anybody, have made those people your target audience. Not the MAGA base, not the working class, the billionaire flying a jet wherever they want class. That's your base. And so if some indirect shrapnel hits somebody because of this, Democrats don't care. What they're trying to do is make it clear that you're hiding something and that you're weaponizing justice and that they are speaking up for vulnerable people. And you are falling into the trap, Donald, and I think it's going to hurt you in the polling. Because guys, this is like, it's not directly connected, but it's very telling that Democrats have now portrayed the Republican Party as the party that not only will hurt vulnerable people economically, hurt people on food stamps, hurt people who need health care, hurt the poorest people, hurt public servants that deliver that deliver every single day and now lost their job for a couple months. Hurting all these people and also these children, because they were children when it happened. So who does Donald protect? He hurts working class people, poor people, hungry people, seniors. We can go on and on and on. Rank and file, like low-level public servants. And he hurts all of them to protect the billionaires, whether it's billionaires in the boardroom or on that island